What was self-improvement to you? How do you define self-improvement, and what do you actually do to improve yourself? When we search self-improvement advice or self-improvement in the YouTube niche, we see a lot of content creators preaching us about meditation, making money, going to the gym. These things can be great, but some people just take that advice and they end up locking their selves in the room, and then just focus on that and that, making money till you lock yourself in a room, and they get too comfortable doing it, and in turn they're not doing something else. They're they're just doing something comfortable that they're used to, and that's very detrimental to your growth as a person. Unless this money making goal that you want to reach 10K a month, you want to improve your business, you want to lock yourself in a room, then yeah, that's something else different. But most of the time you're just locking yourself up in a room because you don't know how to maybe talk to other people or go out. That's basically the same as playing video games in your room all day. And so self improvement has also made me a weirdo, because I've once did that like 3 years ago after discovering self improvement. I was basically scared of talking to other people. Of course, I exercise, I meditate, I gratitude journal, all the things that they've said to me that I do. Yeah, I did them, but I wasn't really growing at all because I didn't have, I didn't do the following things later on this video that actually made me grow as a person. So I did self improvement for a while, then I've always dropped off. That was always the case years ago, because I was always so focused on doing the meditation, the gratitude journal. I was basically a self improvement autist or weirdo, which they will define me that. And then, of course, I would drop off. I will not be consistent. I would always beat myself out of it. But sometimes it's okay not to be consistent with your hobbies or habits, as long as you're always going back to it. That's how you define consistency in self-improvement. You always go back to it, even if you don't feel like it, or even if you've dropped off. That's how you define consistency. But back to the topic of the video, I would do self-improvement and then dropped off, then I would beat myself out of it. And self-improvement in that time was very boring, because I didn't have this, which was I didn't have any purpose or a real goal to strive for aside from exercising. And I never really done something new. Like, I haven't been to adventures, and I did not have any goal. All I did was just improve the mental health, improve the meditation, improve the journaling, improve or strive for the goals that the red pill space has told me to. It's not really a real authentic goal that I could never chase. And so I want to ask you, are these real goals? Is gym actually a real goal? Were my goals given to me when I started self-improvement were real goals? No, not all of them. Money, gym, they were all given to us, but they were they were like they were very important goals that you had to chase. Maybe exercising, growing that real body, maxing out your financial status, but I wasn't chasing that goal. And if you're on self-improvement, it's best to chase those goals while you have something outside to do. We'll be going back to that later. So, what is actually self-improvement? Self-improvement should actually be growing. Self-improvement is actually improving. Self-improvement is actually developing yourself. But what does it mean to actually develop or grow into a better person or become a better version of yourself? It's not locking yourself up in a room. It's not meditating. But these are the things that you should be taking into if you want to be the best version of yourself and reach your potential. So self-improvement it's more than doing the habits. It's more than locking yourself up in a room. You need goals. You need to be living life. You need to take uncomfortable steps in some areas to fortunately grow in them. And you have to be cutting off the bad stuff, cutting off the bad habits, the bad activities, or the bad friends that are pulling you down in reaching your best version. And of course, you have to be learning something new, whether it be reading books, learning a new skill, a hobby, or learning from your experiences in life in general. So self-improvement should be living your life whilst you learn something new. That's my conclusion to the self-improvement fakeness in the entire niche. As I've said in my previous video about growth is more of taking the uncomfortable steps in other areas in your life that will actually give you a high reward to yourself and to that area in return. And yes, this is self-improvement because you're growing. Cutting off things is another way you grow because they pull you back. And this is the very most important. You have to learn something new, and you need to have an important goal which you need to strive for. And to find them out, you need to first journal or actualize who you really are and what you really want to do in life. And if you don't have that just yet, I just want you to journal or self-actualize in a room where you think about who you really are and what you really want to do. And you also have to explore new stuff or try new things to find new interests. So you will in turn find a new skill or find a new passion that suits you, and that when you do it, you actually love doing it. So to find goals, to find new hobbies or interests or learn new skills, you just have to self-actualize and then find those things, because finding your passions, they won't actually come to you. You actually find it yourself. Goals will not be decided, but goals will not be decided during goals will not be decided unless you decide for them. But the goals should actually be authentic to who you are in return. To conclude, self-improvement is not locking yourself in a room, but growing through the experiences learned from life, especially the goals that you achieve. You've learned something from them, not only how to achieve them better, but as a person as well. You learn to become a better person by achieving a goal. And for example, the uncomfortable speech that you present, or something uncomfortable that you always step back from because it feels bad, it feels negative, it feels nervous, but that actually gives you a high reward in return, or you grow in return. And most importantly, another example is learning how to love that dear someone is also self-improvement. So learning from experiences, goals, and striving to achieve the goals is self-improvement in itself. And that's what you should be chasing for if you want to become a better version and maximize your potential. Peace out.